Hi everybody, and welcome to our Motivation Assist podcast. And today I'm joined by Robbie. Robbie, how are you today? Thank you for coming in.
You're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me back in again.
Good.
Looking very good today.
Good. Thank you, Robbie. Such a sweetheart. Okay, so today, Robbie, you and I are going to talk about a very interesting topic, men and emotional eating. And I'm sure already the men listening to this, look, I see, Robbie, your reaction already. Yeah, this is a big thing, isn't it, for men?
Absolutely.
For talking about emotions. How does that feel? You tell us as a man and your experience of male clients.
Even you saying the word emotions and men in the one sentence is nearly like a Pandora's box. Mm-hmm. You know, when men come into us and they don't even think about it. It's usually the reasons that they're coming in is that a doctor's told them to, or some sort of health issue. And when we then broach the subject from the mental weight on emotional eating, oh man, there's nearly a shutdown at the start.
Absolutely.
Until they understand it, until they get that little understanding that they have.
Oh yeah.
And it's definitely an interesting topic.
It's interesting. And you've been with us 12 years, thereabouts 12 years, and I know you will have experienced the same. That 12 years ago, certainly my experience would have been male clients, when we explained what the program is about, that it's not just diet, this is about why you're eating and looking at triggers and your emotions and behaviours, etc. Men were basically saying, no, sorry, that program's not for me. Did you find the same?
Yeah, absolutely. You come in and it's like, will you do the mental weight this week? I don't want to be doing that. You know, and when you actually get to explain to them, it takes once or twice with men when they understand that actually this is having an impact on me. And it's that awareness then, once you become aware of that, it's fairly easy to change, but you know, there's definitely a reaction from them.
And do you think, certainly when you said it takes a couple of maybe reports or a few weeks into the program before men actually will open up, do you find that men are opening up and talking more in general now? Thank God.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely.
God.
I you know, from looking at things like Brezzy coming out and doing what he does and the amount of work he's done for opening up the subject where it wasn't open before, and even listen to him, and he's talking about when he said to the doctor that if he had admitted it at that time, would he have been judged? And that was only 2006.
Yeah.
So even now today, when you've got things like cycle for suicide and things like that coming out, it's opened up a huge barrier that was in the way for men to talk about emotions, and so now it's actually getting there. It's slowly but surely. Yeah. But it is allowing those avenues to come up.
Interesting. And because we're always talking about why are people eating in the first place, certainly our research would show that, and our experience would show that men, because they were brought up not to cry, they were told not to cry, and from a very young age told to block their emotions, basically, that how long has that been going on? That's from childhood. So men do come to realize, as you know, on our program, that that's exactly what they're doing. Instead of dealing with the emotion or speaking, they're putting food into their mouth. I recently had a client, and he said to me what came up on his mental weight assessment was stress. And like that, he simply said, I said, have you talked to anyone about the stress? And he said, no, he's not used to talking and saying how he feels. So what's he doing when he's feeling stressed because he has a negative emotion? He's using food to comfort himself, to self-comfort. So stress, I find certainly, Robbie, is coming up a huge amount on the mental weight reports for men, for everybody, but particularly for men, which I think is back to, the way they're all linked in, all the behaviours are linked in our report, which we work from. But I think certainly linked into perfectionism. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. Definitely. And the stress that they put themselves under to be an all or nothing. And to have everything perfectly right. The difficulty is with something like weight loss or weight management is that we know that we can't get it perfect all the time. And so the stress that the clients are feeling from even that, not only that, but the assertiveness side. Assertiveness comes up for men.
A lot of men, doesn't it?
Times.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And isn't that back to because they weren't taught to say how they feel, to express how they feel? So I'd agree with you. Assertiveness all the time comes up.
And passivity. Passivity, the ability to actually tell people how you are feeling. And it's amazing when you do get down to it with a male client, the understanding that they get from that, and the ability for them to just go, actually, that does make sense.
Exactly. It's like the light bulb moment. Yeah. Isn't that what we say? This program is really all about awareness, making people aware of why they're doing what they're doing. So certainly, I know, and I'd agree, we've said it there, that in our experience over the years, male clients would think our program was like, oh no, I'm not into that, and it's a bit all emotions, no thank you. But more and more men are coming in, and I think we did in another podcast, Robbie, about men and wanting to look a certain shape. So do you find that there are a lot of men then keeping weight off because they're not just dieting? Do you find a lot of men over the years have come in having tried everything at the end of their tether? And have you any success stories you can think of, or?
A lot with men, to be fair. I think the thing with men is that they really, once they understand that this is about finding out the why, men want to know the why. If they're fixing if they're fixing something, a washing machine or a light, or they want to know the why. Okay. Why did it fail in the first place? And usually they're not very satisfied until they do find that out. And that's what this plays into, because we that's the basis of what we do, is the why. A lot of times when we find men, when they once they get into the mental weight side of it, and they find out the why, they tend to keep it off a lot better.
Yeah, makes sense.
And they tend to make those changes. And even when they slip and the changes go away, and you see them maybe a couple of years later, and you're saying, it's those tweaks, and they're like, okay, forgot about that. But they understand straight away. So for men, once they get into the mental weight side, once they realise what's actually happening, it's they know that they only need to make very small changes and keep them.
And you said it there, small changes that have a huge impact. And I think certainly not only for as an individual, but for it snowballs. It has an effect on the whole family then, because dad is much happier, or my male partner is happier, I'm happier. I know my husband often says, if you're happy, I'm happy. Lovely phrase.
That is not our life.
But whatever works. But no, definitely it is, it benefits. We see that time and time again. It benefits relationships. It benefits the whole family. So guys, I would say to you and men out there listening, as we said at the beginning, it's okay not to feel okay. It's okay to have emotions. You're a human being. And back to our CBT, we've talked about it, Robbie, our cognitive behavior therapy process of the program. If we have negative emotions, we're going to have negative behaviors, and we can't control emotions. So it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel annoyed, angry, depressed, whatever. We can't change that, but what we can change, and this is CBT, as you know, in a nutshell, we can change our thought patterns. And on our program, we have tools and audios and lots of support to help change that.
The first thing that usually comes up is the awareness.
Absolutely,
and it's the first thing for anybody. If you are aware of something that needs to be changed, you'll change it. If you're not aware of it, you won't. And that's what our program does. It makes you aware of the things that you need to change, if you want to. The second part is the acceptance. Acceptance that it's actually having an impact. And you were talking there about, the family and how it impacts the family. The amount of male clients that I have that now do more with their family. Don't just leave it to the woman of the family to actually go out and do stuff with them. Males are now actually integrating and have such a happier life.
Brilliant.
But didn't realise before that they actually needed it. And so there's the awareness again. If the first thing is awareness, awareness to come in the first place and getting there, acceptance, and then making that change.
Take action.
Absolutely.
Take action.
4 to 21 days it takes to change any habit that you have.
And that's all.
Yeah.
That's very little time. And we always say one habit or behavior at a time, which is important. So it's really, you know, I often think when we're talking about our program as well, it sounds very complex, and some people might think, oh God, like, and particularly men, because of the perfectionists, you know, I don't have a problem and I'm not going in there. I don't need a therapist or whatever. We hear that all the time. But in fact, even though we're talking about the what's behind our program, CBT, we keep this very light, don't we? We keep it very simple.
Very simple. Yeah.
And setting goals, etc. So, as you mentioned there, Robbie, and to particularly male listeners listening to this podcast, the 3 A's we talk about are very important. So, number 1, the awareness. So, being aware, and that's what we can help you with through the program. Accepting. So, accept. I am overweight. I do have these issues.
This is having an impact.
This is having an impact. And then number 3 is to take action. So the more you think about it, remember, the more that the weight will go up. So don't take too long thinking about it. Pick up the phone. Be assertive, take action basically, and just bear in mind as well, and I know, Robbie, you know this is important too for men, you would have heard this, because we're talking about emotions and we're talking about personal issues, to reassure listeners, this is private. Our consultations are all private and on a one-to-one, and totally confidential. So just to reassure people, that's a huge thing. So group, you know, situations obviously aren't for everyone in what we do.
It was interesting listening to the News Talk piece that you did, and listening to the other two saying that they had about 5% of their clients are male.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there going,
why?
We have about 25% of our clients are male.
And rising, more and more coming in.
Yeah. And, you know, so right now we've about 25%. And I think the reason is because it's one-on-one. You know, being in that group situation doesn't suit men at all. You know, and especially when you find that, again, if you've only got 5%, that means that you are way outnumbered by the women in the room.
Sure.
You know,
very uncomfortable for a man to start, I would imagine.
And that queuing up and the, you know, whereas with us, you're in a room, you're completely one-to-one with people, and there's no judgment. You know, you don't have that feeling of being judged, and therefore you can actually work on what you need to work on.
Yeah. Brilliant. So lovely. That's why I love having a male on our podcast, because it's lovely you're lovely and honest about how men feel. It's great to get a man's opinion. And guys, as we said, the 3 A's, awareness, acceptance, I should say, most importantly, action. Take action now. Give us a call. Go on the webpage or our website. And hopefully you found this podcast helpful. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Robbie, for joining me again today.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure.
You're looking very well too, I must say.
Well, thank you very much.
And we shall look forward to guys talking to you soon.